Hello and welcome to another fun video from MZ Creates. Today I'm going to work in my glue book and I just want to show you a few pages from this book. I have just collaged in a magazine and I leave every other page blank in case I want to rip out some pages and cut them out. So the one that I will be making today, we will actually be ripping out. And so we will start over here. And this is a really fun project to do because I'm sure we all have these magazines and they just, I'm sorry about that, that was my ruler, it just fell. And they all have these images that we can collage with, but they also make really good glue books, and this is a wonderful way to upcycle these magazines. So over here I see a couple of fun little pieces that I want to use, so I'm just going to get my scissors. And the other things that I'm using on this page are all things that are in my scrap pile. So I would like to use this. I would like to use this. And these are almost like embellishments. Like I can see these being in an ephemera pack. These are so cute. And so you can always look for those little pieces. I apologize for the state of my hands. I've been filming videos for the Junk Journal Joy Club, and if you would like to know more about that, you can click the link in the description. I've been filming the free version of that, and that is why my hands are a mess. No matter how much I wash them, I've got pigment on them because I've been making ink sprays. So that's the story behind that. Let's get started with this. I am just going to grab a few scraps. I always have a pile near my desk, a place where I just put everything that I could possibly use in collages. So from storybook pages to snippets of, tea-dyed paper, to scrapbook paper, to maps, and swatch cards, printed paper. And we will be going over a lot of these techniques of how I curate my paper in the Junk Journal Joy Club. So if you are interested, you can check it out below. I want to also get some book pages. These are all book pages that I used while I was creating the sprays. I just used them to soak up all the extra pigment, and so I have a lot of this paper as well. So let's just start. You can use a glue stick. I like using this art glitter glue. And since we're making a page that we are going to rip out, I'm just going to work on one side. I'm not going to make this a spread. And the fun thing with glue books is they remind me a lot of my childhood, because we used to do a lot of cutting and pasting in school, and it's just very, very therapeutic. There's no pressure to create a work of art. It's a masterboard. You're going to be cutting it down. You don't know how it's going to turn out. And so I feel like the pressure is off and we can just create. And that's my favorite kind of creating, actually. And the kind of creating that I want to do more of this year. I feel like with everything that's happening in the craft industry and all of the products that are coming out, and you know, planners and stickers and art supplies and 1,000 different types of crayons and sprays and colors. You want to just, you know, buy it all. And I've actually been doing a lot of buying, and I feel like it's been taking away from the amount that I've been creating. I feel like I used to create a lot more when I had, you know, a few limited supplies, and I was just trying to see how far they could go. I felt like I was creating better art then. And so this year, one of my goals is to just create with what I have, use up my supplies, stop hoarding, you know, stop being precious with things, and just make creating part of my daily life. So that's my goal. Let's see how far I get with that. But as you can see, I mean, there's really no rhyme or reason to this. And once we're done, it's going to look fabulous. I feel like this is something that you can't really mess up, because as long as, and I mean, if you're feeling a little intimidated, one thing that you could do is just stick to a color palette. So for instance, just do like pinks and oranges, or pinks and purples, or just do like, you know, blues. You can do that. Now this is also a piece that I have sprayed and used texture paste on. Both the sprays and the texture paste I've made from like grocery store stuff, and that's what we are going to be learning and talking about in the Joy Journal Club. As you can see, this paper was already used as an end paper in a planner, but I just couldn't bring myself to throw it away, and so I kept it. Let's see, what else do we have? This is paper that I had from a jelly print run that I did. The one thing that I do try in my collages is not to leave any of these like straight edges. I just keep layering till I feel that I like what I have. And I've just picked out a very small piece of, like a handful of scraps. I have a whole huge box full of them. But you know, that's another way to get inundated, is to like have too many choices. You don't need that many pieces to create something beautiful. But what you do need is variety, I feel. Like different kinds of stuff will just help you create a better composition. Let's put this here. And I don't want to get too precious with this, because I know I'm going to tear this up. So no, I don't want to use any of those. Let's see what else I have in my stash. Another thing that I really like using is like coloring book pages. And this is an interesting piece. Now, sometimes what will happen is that if you cut this blind, which I'm going to show you what that is, you're going to end up with, you know, some pieces that are cut that you didn't really want to cut through. but again, I feel like you get so much such an unexpected result that it's almost worth it. What you expected, you cut through, but you end up with compositions that are totally unexpected, if that makes any sense. So let's do that. And what else do I want to put in? So the coloring, the storybook pages, I would also just, you know, use to create focal points once I have cut up the masterboard. And if you're creating a masterboard to cut up, you know, probably would not go into such detail like I have over here. Because, you know, you have the sequence, you could cut through that, and, you know, then everything would be a mess. As you can see, the threads, if I cut through it, it's going to get spoiled. You wouldn't want to cut through, you know, something like this, because I've already added a lot of like finishing touches and focal points. So these are not to be cut up. Something like this, where we're just, you know, kind of creating a background, that is where I would cut up stuff. And at this point, because I am limiting myself a little bit, I want to see how that works out. I can also go through the magazine and like find images that I like, or pieces, or just color swatches that appeal to me. For instance, I can use this strip. I can use this blue. What else? Also use this green. Let's go back to our page and now see how we can like play with this stuff. So whenever I'm feeling stressed or creatively blocked, I like doing these pages because, like I said, there's really no pressure with this. The maximum that I can do is mess up a, you know, magazine page a magazine that I was going to recycle anyway. And, you know, some scraps and a little bit of glue. And in my opinion, I mean, that's hardly a big loss. I also keep like some embellishments, etc., that I would probably not like to use as complete pieces, and I'm okay with like cutting those up. And there are always a few of those in any embellishment pack that you buy. So, you know, little scraps or little pieces that you would much rather have in smaller quantities. I can put this in. I would like to use this as a focal point for something. What else? So it's good to have like a little stash of stuff that you don't mind cutting through, that you would like, you know, just use as little pieces of interest and color. So I have a few. I'm going to glue those down now. I just wanted to create a fun, slow video today. In which we could just, you know, chat and relax a little bit. Maybe you'd like to, you know, create with me. And the beauty in something like this is in the layering, I feel, and just using up stuff that you have. That you might not necessarily love. But stuff that can, you know, be given another life. So I think I'm done with the base of this. And now the best thing for me about masterboards is turning them around and cutting them. I mean, that's the most interesting part of this whole exercise. And what I'm going to do is, okay, so this is 21 centimeters across and 27.5 like this. So I want to do, what do I want to do? I want to do one journaling card. Let's see. So if this is 21, I also want to do one bookmark. So I'll keep that at 4 centimeters and make a cut here. And then I want it to be about that high. So again, make one cut there. This is a nice pocket, and this could be like that, a journaling card, but we could probably create 2 tags from the parts on the top, and then this could be trimmed down also to create some sort of pocket. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces is what we're going to get. Now you can use your cutting board, but I'm going to just use the scissor because I think this gives me more control, because this paper is, you know, thick now at certain points where we have more layers and thinner on others. And I'm just going to keep laying these down because I don't want to see what's on the other side right now. So, and doing it like this, like I said, it takes the pressure off. You're not precious about, you know, oh, this composition doesn't look good, that doesn't look good. But in the end, you kind of always have beautiful compositions. I don't know how it happens. It's some sort of magic. Okay, so let's turn them around now. There's one, and look at how beautifully, I mean, I would not have cut it like this had I cut it. That tag has just found the perfect place. Look at this one. I was scared of putting in images where, you know, oh my God, this is perfect for a bookmark. What would happen with that? All of these are so pretty, and now these are ready as bases. You can create cards out of these. I mean, literally the sky is the limit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up over here. Let's just take a cutting knife and get through that. And you can go ahead and make the corners. And before we do that, we can also go ahead and take some paper or card and like back this properly. I also think that at this point it's good to bring in the scoreboard. I'm sorry, the cutter, because I can see that I've got certain places that are not straight. So if I want this to be straight, I will go in, but it is a little tricky to use a cutter on a surface like this. So just giving you that heads up. But that looks really nice, and you can go ahead, you can round the corners. But first, like I said, let's, you know, put something on the back so that it is a journaling spot. I'm just reaching for some card paper and I'm going to back it with this. I almost don't have to do anything literally to this other than maybe, you know, putting some sort of sentiment or little embellishment. But we are going to finish this on camera. So let me know in the comments below whether you like videos like these or you want, you know, shorter, sped up videos. Because I kind of like creating with you guys like this, where we just do stuff on camera and kind of figure things out together. I really like this one. You can always go in with washi tape also. Washi tape that you're not using and that you're not in love with, because, you know, sometimes we buy packs and we don't love all the washi tape that's in there. You can also use that for creating masterboards. That would be super cool. Again, I'm going to round this off. You can also, wait, I'm going to show you. I have a lot of this like tulle ribbon over here, and I can just staple this in. I'm just going to grab my stapler. There you go. And you can trim it at the top and you have a tag. So, I mean, all of these little things that we would otherwise throw away, maybe from sewing projects or, you know, other craft projects, we can make good use of in different ways. For this one, I want to do a knot. I'm just realizing now that I'm seeing it on camera how terrible my hands are looking, but it was for a good cause. The spray inks really turned out well. So we have 2 tags, then we had a bookmark. Again, this is something that I would want to clean up a little and also put on some cardstock. Again, this is cardstock that, or, you know, watercolor paper that's was ready for the bin because I had kind of, you know, messed it up. It was dirty, but these are all the pieces and things that you can use. You don't have to throw them away. To put this to the side so that we can kind of focus on this. I can definitely see that it's not straight, and a lot of the times if I don't think something is straight, I'll just go in and make it as straight as I can and not worry a lot about measurements and everything else. I do want to maybe put this little book cover that I designed. Maybe, not so sure. So on pieces like this, you know, when I feel like I need a little bit extra, I can always go in and add more stuff. And this is where the little pieces come in, right? So if you have something like this coming out, so I want to cut this in half and then put this on. You can always do the fine tuning later, but you have a beautiful canvas already to play with. And then there's this washi tape. You can go down here. And you know, maybe we want something for up there. This, yeah, maybe it'll look nice. And I'm just creating this stuff for my own journal. You can also create these as packs to sell. And depending on what you are making this for, you can, you know, be as fancy as you want. I think the rounded edges always give a very finished look. So I always try and do those. So here we are with these. And we had a few more pieces. I think it was, no, we also had another one, I believe. Where did it go? Yeah, here it is. So we have her, and she's quite beautiful. Also, I think this would be perfect for her. And I'm not going to do much else other than clean this up, because I'm going to treat this like a mini embellishment. Just pulling the tool and then so you can add like a lot of fun 3D elements. This again, I might just put back in my stash to use as a piece for another glue book page. But this one I want to, so these can go back in my stash, but this one I want to turn into like a pocket. So again, we're going to clean up the edges. So that's gone, and that's gone. And I also want to straighten this out. There we go. And we are going to round the top, because this will go on the page. So we're just rounding the top. You can also put like a little indent here, like a half circle punch that can go in there. But first I want to decorate this a little more. And again, I'm just reaching into my little stash to see what I have. So I like that. Oh, I think I have just the thing. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? So while I was creating the sprays, I sprayed some of this butter paper. Also, I was using it to kind of protect the surface. And I'm thinking, which one of these do I want to put in? Do I want to put in both? Like that. And there's one other little cluster that I want to put in, but not this color. I want something yellow. So here we are. I've got this, and I've got this yellow cluster as well. I'm thinking maybe instead of the butter paper, or maybe with the butter paper, to add more and more texture, we do something like this, maybe. That's too much. maybe like this. And now this is becoming so dimensional that I'm not sure that I want to turn this into a pocket. So we'll see what I do with this. But first, I'm just going to use a stapler. And I love the look of staples also on projects like these. So I'm just going to put one here. There we go. And we've got the crinkly butter paper, we've got the tissue, we've got the colors, we've got this incredible focal point. And this is what we have created from just one glue book page that was in a magazine. And we still have this, which I've just got an idea. We can make into a tag. I've done that really badly. There we go. That's a little better. The same can be done with this. I'm just going to use this on the other side. There we go. So these can be 2 tags that possibly can go in this if it's a pocket, or this if it's a tuck spot. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you give this a try. It's a super fun way to just create some ephemera from scraps for your junk journals.